the one, the only, Ben
Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, Ideally Speaking, as we continue with this book, The 10 Really Dumb Mistakes That Very Smart Couples Make. We're up to chapter 11. We'll split into two parts. Today's part 1, Thursday will be part 2. This chapter is titled Attraction. It's one of the tools that bond, he says. Apparently it's the second greatest tool that bonds, at least in quantity. He titles it Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. He says in Yeshivas Chafetz Chaim, where he attended, they had mirrors on the walls. They wanted the men to make sure that they dressed nice, they looked appropriate. Obviously, there were only other men in the yeshiva. Maybe they went out on dates, so they had to know how they look. Yeah, some dorms have mirrors, some don't. I've been in both types of dorms. I found it kind of creepy that there were no mirrors. Like, even if you wanted to shave, like, you had to go like a cracked mirror in the hallway. I mean, that's not normal. Mirrors are part of this world. You cover your mirrors when you're in Avelis. If you're in a yeshiva the whole year and there's no mirrors, what are you in Avelis for many years in the yeshiva? I don't think it's appropriate. But he says, if you're sending, he says, the author says, if you're looking for your yeshiva or son, either one is fine. Of course, he doesn't have an opinion about this. He should have an opinion. But he says, when it comes to seminaries, they better have mirrors on the wall because it's very important for a girl to know how she looks. That's essential to the essence of a woman. She always wants to know how she looks. And the reason that Hashem made this, he says, women's need to be attractive corresponds perfectly with a man's attraction to beauty. When husband and wife channel their natural inclinations towards their spouse, attraction is a tool that bonds a couple. Hashem made it this way. The women care about their appearance because that's the main focus which attracts men. And it's true. 100%. Like, men, even though women don't want to be objectified, by their beauty, but that's just the way men look at women. They categorize women by how they look. Yes, it's nice if you talk to the woman and she has a nice personality, a nice sense of humor. But if she's gorgeous, like, those things are not as important. They're definitely nice pluses, but beauty is the main thing that men look for, no matter whether you're religious or not religious. That's what attracts a man. What attracts a woman is not so much physical looks. Yes, it does play in a man's really good looking. It will temporarily attract a woman, but she's not going to want to marry a man who's just good looking. She wants to marry a man who has a strong personality, confidence, being cool, strength, physical strength, but more than physical strength, it's the strength of personality, a strong, funny personality, humorous personality. She's looking for the personality. She's looking for, that's what she's looking for. And obviously it's a big bonus if he looks good. It's even more important to a man he dresses well, more than he looks good, right? My wife told me that she'd be more attracted to a guy who is average looking but dresses really nicely than a really good looking guy who doesn't know how to dress. And I was that guy. I guess I dressed good enough to attract my wife, but I used to not care about my appearance. Over the last couple of years I've changed. I really do care about my appearance, the clothes I wear, grooming, hygiene, making sure I always look my best, especially on camera. But that's more important for a woman because when you dress well, when you take care of yourself, when you have good hygiene, when you have good grooming habits, when you value yourself, that gives you value in the eyes of a woman. So it's true what he's saying, that beauty is something which is really important to men, not so much to women. He goes on to say that the point of Shana Rishona is more of an idea in the Jewish world. There's a mitzvah in the Torah, the Simach HaSeishto. You have to make your wife happy in the first year. He brings from the Sefer Achinuch. Sefer Achinuch says that the reason, he gives an underlying reason for the mitzvah of Shana Rishon, you have to make your wife happy. He says, because basically, I'm not going to read all the words, basically, let's read with the English. He says, a man is commanded to spend the first year of his marriage together with his wife. He shouldn't leave her for any length of time, not even go to war, nor for any reason. Rather, he should spend an entire year from the day he gets married together with her. The reason for this mitzvah is because Hashem wishes for men to be faithful to their wives. Therefore, he commanded a man to sit together with his wife in order to accustom himself to her ways, so that her image and her nature should enter his heart. Her way of doing things become to him the way a woman does things, and she becomes to him the definition of a woman until any other woman is foreign to him. Basically, what he's saying, a man can habituate himself to the wife until, quote unquote, her ways become, quote unquote, the way of a woman. This is the way a woman walks. This is the way a woman talks. The image of his wife becomes the definition of a woman. He will only have eyes for her because to him, only she is a woman. Now, this is obviously false. Any man who's been married, any man who will admit it, before you're married, right? When you're engaged, you're thinking about your wife only. But after a couple of months of marriage, men's eyes tend to wander, and they want other women also. Doesn't mean they don't want their wives, but men have a desire for more than one woman. That's just an obvious fact. You can ask any man, either he's lying to you or he's lying to himself. So that's really the underlying truth. So I completely disagree with the Sefer Chinuch over here. Shana Rishona obviously is not to do that, because just because you spend a year with her, actually the more frequently you spend with her, the more you become accustomed to her. And just like anything in life, any good thing in life, when you become accustomed, you eat too much chocolate, you're not going to like chocolate for a while. Too much ice cream, you're not going to like ice cream for a while. You're with the woman for too much time, 6 months, you're going to want other women. This is just natural. I believe, I'll tell you my explanation why the Torah says it's a mitzvah of simcha. It's not for the man, it's meant for the woman, right? A woman is vulnerable. A woman needs to feel comfortable with her husband. And if there's any type of austerity in the house, if she's fearful in any way of her husband, she's not going to love her husband. She has to feel completely comfortable with her husband. It takes women longer to get used to their wives, more than men to get used to so it takes longer for women to get used to their husbands more than men to get used to their wives. It just takes longer. They feel less comfortable, less vulnerable. A woman, more vulnerable. I'm sorry. They feel, they're scared a little bit of men in general. Even if a woman grew up talking to men, she's not sure she can trust the man, and the man has to build that trust, has to build, shower her with affection, shower her with love, shower her with happiness, so that she becomes accustomed to feeling comfortable with him, and therefore it could have a good, successful marriage. The foundation of a good marriage is that he shows attention to her. The natural thing is you're going to look at other women, but still the mitzvah, if you follow the Torah, you should make sure to make her happy as much as the year. She should feel comfortable in the marriage. That's really basically the foundation for a good marriage. He talks about over here, he ends off talking about beauty itself. He says varies. He says up until a couple hundred years ago, men considered fat women to be beautiful, right? In some, it used to be 200 years ago in Europe, people favored darker, lighter skin. Now there's 25,000, he says, tanning salons in the U.S. People favor darker skin. So it changes based on, he proves from that beauty doesn't have intrinsic value. There's no set definition of what's beautiful, and therefore it changes from time to time. So that's why Hashem wants Chassan and Kala to spend a full year together, so that her beauty becomes imprinted in his mind until she becomes to him the image of a woman. He's interested only in his wife because she alone is a woman. I don't find this far-fetched. I don't really believe this. I do believe there is truth to the fact that you're attracted to women who are from similar countries as where you're from, or follow, the same set of dress standards that you. Men who are Haredi are attracted to women who dress sanua, like Haredi women. They're not usually attracted to women that are walking around in bikinis. That's anathema to them. It's just the way it works. You feel if you grow up in the United States, you'd rather be married to a girl from the United States. I married a girl from Israel, but you're more attracted to girls from where you grew up with, right? The communities you grew up with. That's just the way it is, because the ultimate attraction, the ultimate type of marriage, which, as I've explained many times, most men never really taste, is that it has to be a marriage where you're similar. The best marriage is where you're similar as possible. They say opposites attract. They might attract for a second, but they'll so quickly burn up. Perfect matches. It'll burn up like a match and go great fire. If you want to have the best marriage, you want to be as similar to the other person as possible, which is really your zivug, right? Your pair. Unfortunately, we don't experience that. We're not privileged to experience that in this world. But hopefully in the next world, we'll be able to experience that. But you're not really married to the right person for you. But the closer you can get to the person, the more similar you can get to the person, the more the attraction will be, both physical and personality. So I even saw, people are familiar with Ben Shapiro. Probably people who are watching this definitely are familiar with Ben Shapiro. He has this girl on his that joined his Daily Wire program that really is a female version of him. Looks exactly like, I thought it was his sister. I know he has a sister, but I looked it up. Her name is Brett Cooper. She's not even Jewish. She's like 21 years old, but she is the female version of Ben Shapiro. Honestly, the female version of Ben Shapiro. I'm like, if Ben Shapiro had his wishes, he'd be married to this woman. He's obviously married to some other woman, I'm sure. He claims he's happily married, but he's substantially older than this 21-year-old girl. But she really is the female version of him. And it's interesting, Ben Shapiro's not a good-looking guy. Like, he's not ugly, but he's an average-looking guy. He's not an attractive-looking guy, but the girl version of him is attractive. I explained many times that women are more attractive because if you have a cute look, it's attractive on a woman. It's not attractive on a man because women don't place value on being cute. They place value on strength. The cute look, reminds you of weakness, doesn't remind you of strength. Therefore, it's not attractive for a woman. But for a man, if a woman's cute, obviously if she has strong symmetrical features, right, that makes her beautiful. But she'll even be attractive if she has a cute face because femininity is something that men seek, and a little bit of weakness of character is what they like. They don't like alpha females, men. They don't want to be dominated. They like a little femininity, a little bit of weakness. That's what men really treasure also. So, and to say that beauty is not, it is basically some subjective or object. I think there is objectivity in beauty. They have different ways of defining beauty based on symmetry of how, the nose and the eyes, they can measure. Apparently, they figure out the most beautiful woman in the world, the most beautiful man in the world based on symmetrical features. There's different ways of valuing. So I think there is, in the face, right? The face doesn't change. The face is always going to be beautiful. From 100 years ago to 1,000 years ago to nowadays, it might change the skin color, it might change, how large the body is, but the face, which is symmetry, that's objective. The rest of the body might be subjective based on what day and age you live in, where you grew up, where you're from. But there is objectivity in beauty in terms of the face. Subjectivity may turn to the body, but it doesn't matter. You try to look for someone who's obviously good looking, especially for a man, to make sure his wife is good looking, and also that has a nice facial feature that can be attracted to. So it is important. It is very important. I don't agree with him completely on it that you won't look for other women, even if you have a beautiful wife. And I disagree with him that there is no objectivity in beauty. There is objectivity in beauty, and you should seek it as much as possible to see when you're going out, is to find someone who you're very attracted to and who is similar to you in looks and similar to you in background and similar to you in personality, because I believe that's what really makes for a better marriage. I hope you enjoyed today's lecture. See you at the end of the week.